Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So today's upload we'll be talking about a growing threat for another storm system. This one is a bit different than the previous ones we've seen. That's usually the case. No two storm systems are often alike. They are similar, but this one is almost completely different. So we'll be talking about that, the rain threat, the snow threat, and what the temperatures will be doing and what the different models are showing. So we'll be all talking about that. If you guys enjoy this channel or enjoy anything you see on here, consider subscribing, consider liking, obviously check out the channel. And especially if you are a returning viewer, that would be awesome to like the video. Otherwise, let's get into this. So, notice that we are looking at the GFS model, and I want to go back to our 006. So, pretty much what we are at right now, or when you will be watching this video, we have quite a bit of rain across the East Coast, into the Mid-Atlantic, and into the Southeast. This is, again, quite a bit to do with that remnants from that large snowstorm we saw yesterday, and from Tropical Storm Eta, yeah. And by the way, I did zoom out a bit with this map. You can see it's a bit further zoomed out, and the dates may be harder to see. So I will try my best to include them a bit more, especially since a lot of people like that. So notice that this is basically 7 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. So really right as I'm recording this, a few hours prior. Now, again, the 7 o'clock is Central Time, so add an hour if you're East Coast and West Coast. It's just too hard for me to think when I'm used to already saying the 7, 6, 2 based on my time zone, so Central Standard Time Zone when I'm saying these hours. Without further ado, let's get into this. Notice we do have a bit of rain, obviously still continuing quite a bit of rain. The little bit that I was talking about was the snow right here across the northern United States. Really, this won't be a snowstorm. Maybe a few dustings, maybe a trace of snow across the northern United States. This is 7 o'clock in the morning Thursday, and notice the rain continues across the Northeast. In portions of the Carolinas, South Carolina, North Carolina, especially the Outer Banks, this is 7 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. We could be looking at a lot of rain, and that's definitely concerning, especially since they have seen rain. They will be seeing rain, and they are seeing rain, and there are flood watches up from the National Weather Service. If you were to look at this, notice we have a lot of flash flood advisories from separate thunderstorm cells, and then obviously just an overall statewide, area-wide flash flood watch, or warning. I actually think I always flash flood watch. Okay, flash flood watch. And if we were to zoom in, obviously, Florida also seeing quite a bit of activity, but these areas will really be potentially seeing some concerning amounts of water, if you will. So let's just look at Greenville, North Carolina, and just see what their forecast has to say. This isn't really to do with this main system this new system that we're talking about. It's still to do with that previous one, but there we go. It finally loaded. I was about to give up, but you could see all the way through really Friday. Rain. Go away. Come back some other day. 1 to 2 inches tonight, 2 to 3 Thursday, so that's definitely plenty of rain. And, they're not in a drought by any means across those areas. So definitely, it would be nice if that rain would come across into the southwest where they need it more, or even into the northeast. Notice there's quite a bit of snow. Quite a big snow chance across the Wisconsin-Minnesota area, but again, this won't be significant. This has been consistently showing in the long-range models, but late Thursday evening into Friday morning, we could be seeing a bit of snow across the UP. Really nothing significant. What we start seeing of any of significance is this system right here. Notice this is the west coast, obviously Washington, Oregon, or southwestern Canada, if you choose to view it from that perspective. This is 2 o'clock Friday, this upcoming Friday, November the 13th. It's a Friday the 13th, guys. Maybe some bad luck. I'm kidding. But notice that we see, again, that large storm system riding into the northwestern United States. Now, again, this has a lot of moisture to work with it. It has mainly rain. There's a lack of cold air, but definitely where it's cold enough in the mountains, there will be snow. It's not like if there will be an absence of snow. It's just that it may be not as widespread as it would be, say, if there's like really cold air mass. However, notice that this spreads into northern California, into northern Nevada, area-wide Oregon seeing finally precipitation. The southeastern portion of Oregon has been kind of missing out the most. They're now finally going to get on this. Notice Idaho the same, Montana, Wyoming. Notice these are the wee morning hours of Saturday, and maybe you're getting still, from a bar or a place. A lot of people out usually over the weekends, and there could be a lot of precipitation, right? Again, this is pretty plentiful, this area of precip, and what we see now is a combination of a bit of moisture from the Gulf of Mexico. So this is why the Gulf of Mexico still plays a role even this late into the season for the United States, not just in terms of hurricanes or tropical storms. You can see right here we have what it seems a measly amount of precip. It, over time, as this system rides on shore, right? So this is 2 o'clock Saturday morning. At the same time, we see showers and rain breaking out across Oklahoma, Kansas, Missouri. Now, this will be all rain, no snow. It's way too warm for that. But notice, this begins to break out into a decent area of precipitation. We see a low pressure. That is obviously to do with that system that came on shore develop, and it kind of takes the best of both sides. It really starts increasing the moisture again from the Gulf of Mexico. Right now you can see that this GFS kind of jumps it around areas of weakness, areas of strengthness. But overall, again, more precip from the Gulf of Mexico gets brought up. Maybe not precip, but at least moisture as low pressure spin counterclockwise. So once it gets into the groove of things, you can see kind of dwindles out here, but starts picking up that moisture, and that obviously helps it as it overcomes the drier air, which is really the nemesis of hurricanes and low pressures. So notice a lot of rain, a lot of minimal amount of snow, right? There's no snow at this point yet, but as we push this forward, notice that into portions of the Arrowhead, Wisconsin, and into Ontario, we start seeing some snow. Lots of rain across the Great Lakes, the Midwest, into the Michigan area. Notice we also see quite a bit of snow occurring on the northern side once it gets at around that late Sunday, early Monday morning time frame. And if we were to take this back a bit, Chicago, Green Bay, Milwaukee, Des Moines, Iowa, seeing that precipitation late Saturday, early Sunday morning, kind of that midnight time frame. And really it doesn't seem to be overly too heavy or too well developed, this precipitation, but by the time it gets into the northeast, you could see it's bringing dumpings of snow across southern Canada. And people may be asking why I cover southern Canada. Well, guess what? The weather doesn't stop at the Canadian-US border, and since I have the map already pulled up here across much of southern Canada, where coincidentally most folks that are Canadian live, why would I ignore it? If I were to, people may be asking, okay, so why don't you do Europe? Well, for Europe, I would literally have to change the regions, and it's a whole different climate there. Obviously, it's still temperate, right? But it's definitely different. And I know this climate the best, and I have the view already open, so, I mean, it literally makes no sense why I wouldn't. And notice that we see a lot of snow, and even for those locations that maybe not be seeing the snow or much of rain, look at the winds with this storm. Very, very tight isobars. This is a pretty strong system, 978. Definitely strong winds coming off. I wouldn't be surprised if we get some lake effect kicking up, and that's what the models are hinting at. Notice the northeast really seeing rain out of this system, right? So unfortunately that's the case for much of the United States. Mainly rain. I could still switch. We could still see more of a snowy scenario. But again, much of the Canada, Ontario, northern Quebec, seeing that snow. Not even the larger cities across southern Canada see that snow. It's really the really far northern regions, or just the extreme western regions. So the UP, Sault Ste. Marie into Thunder Bay. Again, northern Michigan, the UP also seeing lake effect after the system starts pulling away, and that seems to be the case with Lake Huron, Erie, and Ontario as well. So a few showers and lake effect squalls will definitely be possible across the northeast, but it doesn't seem to be a full-fledged snow system across really any portion of the United States. Notice then we see a little piece of energy, which I'll show you what the European does with that. I don't know if exactly with that piece, but it does something interesting. But notice after that big system, the videos about that storm, but I just want to show you that we don't see much of a cold pattern. Again, we see, storms continuing, and it's obviously going to be changing, each model showing a different thing, but really not much of a cold air. but it's definitely not as warm of a pattern as we've been seeing. Definitely some cold air mixing in. And now let's take a look at the Canadian model. So this is another model that we like to look at, and let's see what it does. So right now, again, similar stuff. Heavy rain across the east coast, the pulling away snowstorm to the north, and tropical storm Eta to the south. We do have a bit of remaining snow and precip across the west and northwest. However, this again starts quickly acting up as or starts refilling as we see that big storm make its way on shore again at around that same time frame. The early effects really reaching the west coast by late tomorrow into early Friday, and then obviously it reaches a good portion of Idaho, Montana. A lot of these locations start off as snow and then switch to rain, so that definitely could be a bit of a hassle with the travel and all sorts. And notice that it is pretty expansive. It doesn't seem to be one of those storms that just stops at the west and doesn't do anything. It moves in, and especially with that help from the Gulf of Mexico, notice again, we have that precip rising up, similar to what the GFS did. The Canadian does develop it in a different style a bit further to the north, but generally the same. Not really a snowstorm for the U.S. or even portions of Canada, southeastern Canada, but definitely Ontario, Quebec, and a good portion of mid-central Canada, definitely seeing mid-central southern Canada, if that makes sense, seeing quite a bit of snow. Notice we do have continued precip across the west. Again, strong winds, probably prompting some lake effect, and just in general, strong winds, so that's already enough of a concern. And not much of a snow system for the northeast. You can see that the Canadian includes quite a bit of colder at around this time frame, though it gets definitely kind of pushed out by a warming air mass, though the northeast really at this time from the Canadian perspective is seeing some pretty chilly temperatures, you can see right there. So that's definitely interesting. That has been kind of a recent trend with the model, showing a bit more colder air than what they've been showing. But then again, look at that, we have a pretty significant more of a snow system, though it's not as well organized. That's very far out, and that's not the storm we're worried about. I should have showed you the snowfall totals with the GFS, and I will do that, but let's take a look at the Canadian first, minus that second storm. So this is basically what's going to fall out of that first system. Right there, we could see a little band of snow across northern Illinois. They're hinting early next week. That's really not part of that first storm, but this is, notice, a lot across the west, southwestern Canada, not too much across the provinces of Saskatchewan, Manitoba, but as we push into Ontario, Hudson Bay, James Bay, Quebec, quite a bit of snow, and obviously where the lake effect does kick up, there will be isolated amounts of 7, 8, 9, probably even 10 inches, especially since this is a cold air mass behind this, a relatively cold air mass. The lakes are warm and it's early in the season, so they are primed for production, these lakes, right? So let's take a look at the GFS model around that same time frame. Notice it includes a bit less snowfall across southern Canada, but it's definitely still gonna be there. The west obviously consistently seeing with all models a dumping of snow, and the northern United States kind of a hit or miss again. Depending on whether you get hit by lake effect snowband, you will see those higher amounts. Minnesota, North Dakota not seeing much more additional snowfall with this system. But let's take a look at the European model, ECMWF. And I just want to quickly show you the temperatures, as the European model is usually the highest regarded in terms of temperatures. It shows it the most accurately, in other words. Notice that right now the East Coast is very warm, right? But the north central United States and the West is pretty close to average, if not a bit below, and quite a bit below across northern central Canada. And as we push this into Friday, Saturday, out ahead of this northwest system, southwest system, if you look from Canada, there is a bit of cold air, so that could help with a bit of that snow, maybe across the extreme portions of Montana, UP, and Wisconsin. But again, mainly not a snow system. But we do see quite a bit of warmer kind of push up, if you will, into this weekend, and that's mainly to do again with that strengthening storm. So as it strengthens, it pulls up more more warm air. Then we do see a bit of that cooler air, and notice that it does intensify kind of, if you will, across the northeast and across where the snowpack is. But again, look at that resurgence of warm air, but it gets fought back from the cold air. So again, it's not an all clear pattern of warm or all cold. It's kind of going to be a mix. Let's take a look at the precipitation type and rate according to the European, or probably the holy grail of all models. It's a really good model. So notice very heavy rain across the East Coast. That heavy rain is pretty consistent with most of the models. And obviously that would make sense as it's really already happening. The rain completely pushes off the East Coast at around, say it's Friday 2 o'clock in the afternoon, still affecting portions of the Northeast, but it's really just some light rain showers. Notice the European brings in that Northwest system with vigor. I mean, this thing is a beast. Pretty strong, 989 millibars of low pressure, lots of precipitation. Northern California seeing quite a bit. Though again, it gets eaten up pretty quickly through the mountains, and with the help of the Gulf of Mexico at around 7 o'clock Saturday, again into early Saturday, late Friday, we start seeing the precip rise up from the south, the Gulf of Mexico, and that low pressure kind of collides with that precipitation. And you can see it starts off up here, taking more of that Canadian model track further to the north, but then it adjusts and forms a new low pressure with that Gulf of Mexico precipitation. And you can see that the European does develop a pretty strong system. Southern Canada seeing quite some bit of snow with the help of a high pressure across Colorado. Some very strong winds yet again, mostly this time blowing from the northwest and west. A cold front right there for sure, or yeah, a cold front with some severe weather potentially is definitely possible into Sunday, 7 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, or in the afternoon, and this is 7 o'clock in the evening. Notice a lot of snow across southern Canada, and this is, well enough to call it a potentially large system. And again, the wind will definitely be wicked. Lots of rain for the northeast. The snow will be falling heavily, and this thing moves out, but it's very strong. The lake effect behind this is obviously kicked up, and once it moves out, we get a break, right? But then I just wanted to show the northeast people that have been missing out on the snow. The European model from about a week from now, it shows this system across the northeast. I'm definitely bringing in potential snow into the northeast. Not really the coastal areas, but even New York, Vermont, New Hampshire, even those areas have been seeing below average snowfall. So they may catch up with that system. And then the European kind of shows more dancing precipitation. I do want to show you, obviously, the snowfall accumulations with the European. So let's take a glance at that. And if we were to look at this, again, quite a bit of snow potential across southern Canada, quite a bit, a foot and a half. The UP, northern Minnesota, into Toronto, seeing again maybe even several inches of snow, especially where that lake effect kicks up. The west, obviously, consistently seeing just buckets of snow or shovelfuls of snow, 20, 30 inches plus. And again, with that potential next system, you can see that even the northeast could get in some of that. Let's take a look at, I just want to quickly show you what this past snowstorm did. This system that passed couple, even hours ago it ended. Look at this. The highest amount was at 11 inches across Montana. And again, I fully expected some, even, maybe some. There probably is a few areas that are reporting up to a foot of snow. But again, not everyone reports. These are all volunteers. But notice a widespread area of 9, 10, 6 plus, 8 plus inches, even 10 plus inches. So again, these type of systems do overproduce, and that was the case. Minneapolis got right around that 4 to 6 mark. Maybe even some locations pushing towards that 6 to 8 inch mark. And in terms of Minneapolis total snowfall, it's just been crazy. It's just been crazy this year. If you were to look at their observed total snowfall, you could see that this year we have, since July 1st, September 1st, 14.8 inches. And you can see observed value, and a normal value is 2.8 for Minneapolis at this time. So definitely a good amount of snow to start the season, and this trend seems to continue. So I'll catch you all guys in the next episode, but as of now, this is it. Thank you so much for watching. See ya. Bye.